book besties. Welcome to More Than a Book Club podcast. I'm your host, Lena.
And I'm your other host, LJ. And it's More Than a Book Club podcast Monday because we have moved to Mondays. Woohoo! And you know I love alliteration. So Monday it is.
And I love time to edit. So it's perfect.
Hey, it works out for everyone, but most especially for Lena, who does our fabulous editing, because I cannot. I
don't know if you call it fabulous, but it's getting there.
Well, seeing as how
I would say it's better than it was when we started.
There we go. And it's better than I would be able to do because she has shown me how to get in there to get social media stuff. And sometimes I have to ask, and it's literally right in front of my face. It's exactly where she had already told me it was. So,
although my husband thinks it's comical that anyone would be asking me anything technical.
Well, that's okay. That's okay. We know he's Mr. Technology, so.
He is. So, yeah. Anyway, we're going to start off by being more than a book club today because we had a wild week. Both of us did.
We really did.
LJ, I think you take the cake for craziest week. I don't know if you want that title.
Don't really want the title, but I will say that since we last recorded, my daughter went to the hospital for asthma, and thankfully she's home. She's doing better. She actually apparently had the flu, but we had to stay overnight because if you have kids or you have asthma, you know that if you can't keep your pulse ox above 90 on your own at home, you got to go to the hospital. And she was hovering around 85 despite all of our efforts. And then her lungs wanted to take forever to get better. So we had multiple treatments. They gave her magnesium. They gave her Tamiflu once we figured out it was the flu, IV fluids, all these things. And she still had to stay overnight. But she's good. We're doing a lot better. And for once in her life, she's worried about school. So that was one. And then the other was my grandmother did pass away. And so she had unfortunately, a major fall a couple weeks ago, and she passed away. So, yeah. That was
a lot
week.
of life this week, a lot of hard stuff, and a lot of rolling from one tragedy to another, not with a tragedy, but from one to another. It kind of felt like that's a lot to handle.
It was. And so, Lena, what about you?
Oh, mine was just garden variety busyness. My son got his driver's license. He took his test.
Yay, celebration.
And it was so funny because we went to practice and we were in the parking lot to take the test. And I swear it was the worst driving he has ever done. Like, he was like, I want to practice backing up and remembering which way the wheel goes whenever you turn it. And so he started doing that, didn't look behind us, almost hit a student driver. I was like, I hope that's not the person that's going to be taking your test for you. But he resettled, he regrouped. We went out for a drive and he started going around the corner and it was a red light. And he put on the gas and not the brake. It's like, oh my God. So
it's okay.
Luckily, no one was there. Everything was fine. We pulled over. We reset again. And then he went and took his test. And he said it was, again, the worst driving he's ever done. But he passed the test. And I was like, you know what? If you're having the worst driving you've ever done and you still pass, that's pretty good. So let's just take that as a win. But then we had something in Texas where you could go to a third-party driving school and get everything taken care of, like online. So you wouldn't have to go to Department of Public Safety. Whenever we got done with the driving test, I was asking about that, and it doesn't seem like it's that easy. So we ended up having yesterday, my son and I drove to Toller, Texas, which if you've never heard of it, it's in the middle of nowhere.
Nice. How far away? How many hours?
It was 2 hours away. If y'all are unfamiliar with Texas, DMV, DPS, it is incredibly hard to get any type of appointment anywhere near you. So you're almost always driving I drove 3 hours when I had to get mine renewed. That was a fun trip. But so this was closer than that. But yeah, so we had to go out there and it was basically just to turn in the paperwork.
Oh my gosh.
He got his paper license and then we drove back. It was 4 hours in the car. So it was just crazy. And then I cheated. I cheated on book club last night. I went to another book club.
Unforgivable. No, I think if I could have a book club every day of the week, I think I'd be okay. So, okay, but tell us about this because this was fun stuff.
it was fun. It was Neighbor Books in McKinney, Texas, and they just opened. I want to say like August, September
Yeah, I was like,
timeframe.
it was around there, yeah.
Around then, I remember I was wearing shorts. That's what I remember.
Okay, but in Texas, that could literally
It could
be
literally
any
be
month
any
of the year.
time. That is true. So I went to this book club, and first of all, I hadn't finished the book. The book was Martyr, and I was like, I shouldn't go to the book club. I didn't finish the book. I had like 20 pages left, but
Oh my gosh, Lena,
I
it's
had
so
planned
close.
to spend the whole day yesterday reading and finishing, but instead I drove to Tolar, Texas at the last minute to get
Oh
my
my
son a driver's
gosh.
license, because it really was literally a last minute trip, and it was the only place that had
Oh
appointments
no.
before April. So
Oh my gosh.
I sacrificed my book reading, but then I went and I was like, I feel horrible going to a book club without the first one without having read the book. But then it turned out everything was fine. I had read almost all of the important stuff. So I think,
Okay.
I told them ahead of time that I hadn't finished it. They were joking with me that I should stop right where I was and go sit somewhere and read and then come back and join them. They're like, you're
Oh
so
my
close.
gosh.
But yeah, it was a really good book. It was fun. It was a different type of book club. So that was fun too. There was probably 10 to 12 people there.
Okay.
So that was pretty cool. But yeah, it was a totally different experience, something new. I wanted to try it out. They're going to be reading James in February, which our book club is reading in March.
Yep.
So I told them that I would read that with them, and then I'd have some good notes to
You
bring
will?
to book club. Yep.
Yeah, I by some miracle had gotten, like, I was second in line at our McKinney library and got it, but I was like, it's too soon. And I kept having trouble trying to return it and get back on the hold list. And so it went away, and I went to go get back on the hold list, and now it says over a year. So
Ugh.
I'm thinking, because I do have an Audible credit, and I'm about to have a second Audible credit because I just could not decide what to buy in January. So I'm thinking I'm going to get that and do it that way. So we'll see. If not, I will break down and buy the ebook more than likely. But that's okay. But that's so fun. Did
And
anyone you already knew there, or?
No, I think that was the scary part, was going out and doing it without knowing anyone there. So
I'm impressed.
It was fun. It was scary, but my word of the year was play. And so I've been trying to play more. And I went to a play, and
yes, you did.
So we have in Dallas here, it's called Lucky Seat, and you can get tickets on the cheap. It's like a raffle thing for like $29, $39. They're usually pretty good seats. This was orchestra level, closer to the front, and it was Anne Juliet, which I knew nothing about. And I think it is one of the best musicals that I've seen. It's right up there at the top. And it's Shakespeare and his wife talking about changing the ending of Romeo and Juliet.
Oh.
And so his wife is like, I think it shouldn't end with Juliet dying because she's a 13-year-old girl. Let's give her some life, some living. And so she takes the pen from William Shakespeare and rewrites it. And they use all kinds of pop songs. So there's like Backstreet Boys.
Yes.
There was so many things. I think, is Joey Fatone?
Yes.
I don't know.
He's in NSYNC. Yes.
He's in NSYNC. So they do an NSYNC song because he's on Broadway right now with it. So he goes and sings parts of it. So I think you would love this, LJ. Whenever I was like, I was texting everyone like, you need to go see that because it was so good. But yeah, so that was my fun. And then you and I had a fun outing.
Did.
We got to go meet Tessa Bailey.
We did, and we have signed special editions of the book. I'm like trying to get to the page where she signed it. Right there.
That is the hard part, right?
And then it is.
I think if you're on our YouTube, you can see we're showing you the cover art, the page art. I just absolutely love everything about this cover. So I can't wait to read it. I have not read the other two in the series, though.
No, are they all hockey romances? Because
no, I think one of them is a golf.
Okay, that's fine. I love sports romances. I haven't read a golf romance, though.
So there's Fangirl. I
Oh
can't
yeah,
remember
I've
what
heard
they
of
are.
that one. I feel like I've
Fangirl
heard of it.
Down. I have it in my Libby.
Okay.
Yeah, Fangirl Down, and then something about Au Pair Affair, and
Oh,
I'm not sure what that one is, but then Dream Girl Drama.
I'm so
So,
excited because I love hockey romances are my favorite. I pretty much have not met a sports romance that I didn't like, but hockey romances especially. And I do think it's because I was a competitive ice skater for a decade of my life. So I don't know. I was around the hockey skaters. So, the big tough guys. So
and my
yeah.
husband was a hockey player, so
So
I
you
like
got to get
the.
into this. Yes.
I can get behind it.
Yes. And we have to share something fun. They had fun activities for us to do while we were in line to take a picture. And they had Mad Libs. So, Lena, I think you have to do the ones that I gave you the words first,
Okay.
because I think the one that you gave me the words wins.
So if you don't remember Mad Libs, it's where they give you like noun, adverb, adjective, and then you have to fill it in. But they have some pre-written script. And the fun part about this was that I forgot what an adverb was. And then I was joking with LJ. I was like, "Oh, now you have to know what an adverb is." And she just rattled them off like nothing. And I'm like,
Okay, you have to
Spanish
remember.
teacher.
Yeah, I'm a Spanish teacher. Even though nowadays we don't actually teach them like the names of the things, we just teach them how to use it. So I'm sure if I ask my students, they are unlikely to know what it is. But because we didn't always teach it that way, and I didn't learn it that way, so it's like always in my
In your head.
head.
Yeah.
And so yeah, so yes, I'm a little bit of a grammarian. But
So
anyway, okay.
this was LJ's, and hers was titled Figure Skating, which we thought was just perfect for her because she was a figure
Yes.
skater.
Mm-hmm.
As a crowd of more than 19,000 cats filed into the repeatedly designed auditorium, Nancy Kerrigan, or Tessa Bailey, our horse skating champion, went through her warm-up coffee pot. For the first time in her creamy life, the champion felt frightened and red. As the music began, the champion took a short breath, smoothed the ruffles of her vinyl, and started to dance. Just as she feared, when it came time for her most wiry jump, a triple desk, she lost her balance and landed with a thump on her car. She stood up bravely, brushed the ice off of her purse, and finished her spunky routine. The crowd gave her a 5-minute standing book. Even though she realized she had lost the competition, she knew she had won the hearts and shoes of every hair in the auditorium. And I thought it was perfect that she won the hearts and shoes of every hair in the auditorium because it started out with 19,000 cats. So
yeah, they have
and we
lots
all
of
know
hair.
LJ has 19,000 cats.
I do. I have 19,000 cats. So that was fun. Okay, so Lena's was how to date the coolest guy or girl in school. So here we go. It's simple. Turn the shoes and make him want quickly to date you. Make sure you're always dressed to swim. Each and every day, wear a sock that you know shows off your nose to Blue Advantage and makes your dog look like a million sodas. Even if the two of you make meaningful fingernails contact, don't admit it. No hugs or luchadors. Just shake his tongue firmly. And remember, when he asks you out, even though a chill may run down your taco, you won't be able to stop your guitar from crouching. Just play it fast. Take a long pause before answering in a very slow voice. I'll have to walk it over. It was perfect. It was perfect.
We decided that mine won. We did the
we're at
fingernail thing, the tongue, the chill running down your taco.
We were there for a romance author. Like, it does not get better than that.
Mm-hmm.
So that was hysterical.
If y'all do want to read with us, we are reading Dream Girl Drama for our book club pick this month. So you do have time to read that. It's not a very long book. And I had heard, because I haven't read it yet, but someone who had an ARC said you didn't need to read the other two books beforehand. That was just, it can be read as a standalone. So don't feel like you need to go read all of them. I might, because I'm weird and I want to know sequentially what's going to happen, because I love stories where multiple characters from the book's world
like
are
kind
there.
of how Abby Jimenez and Catherine Center like to do.
Mm-hmm.
See, and I probably won't worry about that because, I'm in the middle of 5 books right now, but
I don't know how you do that.
they're all different genres. That's how I'm doing it. But it is kind of funny when I get in bed because I'll read like 20 pages in one and then 20 pages in
Oh my
another.
gosh.
And then, but then when you get to that moment where you can't put it down, then I just switch wholeheartedly to the other one, which is kind of what happened this weekend. But yeah, but while Lane and I were there, I had found a gift card. So I bought a book that I don't know. I think I'm going to read it soon because I have a friend who's about to read it at work. I'm sure people have heard of this book. Quicksilver. Was it last year or the year before that everyone was talking about it? I don't remember.
I don't remember having seen it, but I don't do TikTok, so I miss out on all of that. And I had gotten rid of my Bookstagram.
Bookstagram, yeah.
So
I feel like it was on Bookstagram. Ooh, there's a pronunciation guide.
Ooh, that's fun.
I like that because I have, and I should have brought it. I'll show it next week. One of my coworkers, who also is a Bookstagrammer, you should go follow her account. It's what she has it with a friend. It's Girls Gone Goodreads. And they have an Etsy shop as well. And so she had designed like
was that your cute
wing.
Basgiath?
Yes. And so
sweatshirt?
Funny story, I didn't know how to say that word because I've only read the books and I guess I haven't seen enough TikToks. So I was telling someone today, I was like, yeah, she made me a sweatshirt for like, I don't know. And I started to say, or was it with you?
It was not with me because I would have corrected you.
Yeah, no, well, I asked. I was like, I don't know how to say it. And the person was like, and said it very clearly. And because I was like, Basky, and they're no. But, so how do you say it again?
Basgiath.
Basgiath. So I have a really cute sweatshirt. Now, I bought myself a sweatshirt since she was offering to make it for me and then took it. But she sells sweatshirts too with that on and probably t-shirts. And so she's about to, I told her I need her to make me a Night Court or Valeris one. Or is it Valaris on the audiobooks? I don't know. I say Valeris.
I think it's Valeris.
Okay, good.
I'm trying to remember now if I read the audiobooks of those.
I mean, I think I did. The funny thing is I have listened to the whatever it's called, the audio where it's acted out.
Oh, the graphic audio?
Yes. So yes. I guess I would have noticed if I was saying it wrong.
Yes.
Although I know I say resend wrong because they say resand and whatever.
That is the thing about fantasy books is they come up with these weird, I know it's supposed to be a different world and all of this.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's really hard to pronounce the names. Or if you're listening to an audiobook to go and if you're texting your friends about it, you're like, I don't know how to spell this because I've been listening to it and it probably doesn't sound anything like what it's spelled. So,
right? Especially with Outlander, because I was like, how in the world do you say these names?
Right? Literally a different language.
Google lied to me. Just saying. Just saying. So, anything else exciting this week? I mean, I guess I should show, speaking of Onyx Storm.
Yes.
I got my Amazon one. I don't know if anyone else had the issue where they pre-ordered for like $13 the special edition. And then on release day, it went from being ordered to order received. So I wasn't sure if it was ever going to show up, but it did. And then Lena already knows about this because I showed her. This is so my favorite cover of a book right now because it's pink and orange. But I got a poetry book. I've never read one, but it's for our bingo card. So if you need a little bitty, if you want to try something, if you haven't read poems, it's less than 100 pages and it's called I Hope This Finds You Well. So,
and it's by Kate Bear, right?
Yes, Kate Bear. If you're on YouTube, I'm showing it, or even on Spotify, because you can watch on Spotify. I've watched
you
on
Spotify, which I didn't know that. So that's fancy.
Yeah, but yeah, what's really cool about this one is she takes. It's not just comments from her social media because some of it is like messages she received of people selling stuff, and she takes them and then makes eraser poetry. And so like it was funny because like some of them, like you think about, I mean, I did this too. I had my MLM days. I would message people about my weight loss products. And so but I never put it like, if you want to lose weight, I'd be like, here are these products that do all these different things. Not that that's much better, but still, she was getting them like, I saw that you have a pooch. Maybe you want, to lose weight or whatever.
Thanks for pointing it out.
Right. And so she makes them into more empowering poetry. And they're all like really short. So like, I haven't even read this one, but you can see like that's either a comment or something. And then the poem is really short, but I really like them. So far,
that's really awesome.
I'm a fan, but I'm reading that one slowly too. Cause I'm like, that's when I feel like you don't want to zip through. You want to like, mull them over. But have you finished any other books this week? You must have finished Martyr. Is that what it was called?
Well, I didn't read it last night because Derek and I started talking. I was like,
so you're,
crap.
you were hanging out with your husband. That's good.
It counts, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I do have that to finish. I am almost done with the chocolate chip cookie murder.
Oh, yeah. How's that going?
It's very much written in the 80s, I'm guessing. I haven't looked, but I'm just
Is it?
the
It's
vibe.
Joanne Fluke?
Yeah.
Yeah, however you say it.
that.
Yeah. I have definitely read it. I don't remember anything about it.
There's a couple of instances where I'm just like, man, I don't know if I like the main character because she's kind of harsh. And I had wanted to read it because that was the Hannah Swenson cookie murder mysteries that's on Hallmark Channel. And I'd watched that and I was like, oh, it's really cute. And it has Sammy from Days of Our Lives.
Oh, yeah, Allison Sweeney.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know what her real name is. She's just Sammy.
Yeah.
So I had really enjoyed that, but reading the book, I'm like, it's kind of, I get a different vibe from her character. I like the way that Allison Sweeney portrayed her better.
I don't know how many of those I read a long time ago, and I don't know if you're going to keep reading them because I read several, and kind of like the Janet Ivanovich Stephanie Plum series, there ends up being a love triangle, and I'm just not a big fan of love triangles. But especially in that series, to me, and I guess we could debate it if you ever get there, like people have different preferences. To me, there was a clear, you must pick this person. And the other one, I just could not believe that she kept him around. And so to me, it was like, it's clearly this guy. And so I was annoyed all the time when she was going, back different books, dating different ones. Whereas in the Stephanie Plum books, I'm like, oh, Joe, Ranger. Okay, I get it. She's back to Joe. Okay, now she's back to Ranger. Like, I get it. They're both like, but I think Ranger, that's, in case anyone wonders, that's who I would pick ultimately. So, which I haven't read the latest one, so I do need to read it.
So I might read more of them. They're not high priority books for me. It would be more of like, I don't have anything else to read right now. I'll read one.
Or like a palette cleanser.
And that's what I felt like this was, because I read All the Colors of the Dark.
Oh yeah, you were saying it was really good.
It was really good, but it had some heavy themes.
Yeah.
And I was reading that at the same time as I was reading the physical copy of Martyr, which also deals with some heavy stuff.
So yeah, you needed something lighter.
They're both really good books, but definitely needed something lighter and fluffy. And that's why I chose it. It's like, I just need something easy. And I do have the Tessa Bailey, the Fangirl Down. Is that what we said it was? I can't remember now.
I think
but that's
so,
on my Libby. I've already got it downloaded. It's ready to go as soon as I'm done with Chocolate Chip Cookie Murder.
Yeah.
So I feel like that'll be a nice segue into kind of like a romance theme for February.
No, I kind of want to go ahead and start this Tessa Bailey, but I am literally in the middle of 5 books. Like, that's not an exaggeration. And only one of them is an audiobook. But yeah, I've got a true crime. I've got a kind of thriller mystery, I think, or something along those lines. I've got a romantasy, because Onyx Storm. And then I'm reading a classic, Anna Karenina. And then I've got the poetry book. So I'm like, but I don't have a romance. Technically, I mean, I know I have a romantasy, but I'm like, but I don't have a romance. All of mine are kind of heavy books too. So, I mean, maybe I need to open up a 6th. But actually, really, I want to, but I also don't. I have hit the point, I think, in Onyx Storm where I want to focus my effort. Yeah. So I
did finish that. It's good.
So I'm excited. I'm 31% in. They're about to travel for the first time. And this is where I think this is where it hooked me in, where I'm like, okay, I'm excited after we get done recording to go read some more of that because I'm home alone. So, except for the million cats and dogs.
Yeah. So I think that you'll enjoy it. It made me want to go reread it again, though, based on my experience of Iron Flame. Because the first time I read it, I was like, it was good. It wasn't great. But the second time I read it, I was like, I really enjoyed that. And I feel like going through and reading Onyx Storm, I was not speed reading it, but I wanted to see what happened.
Yeah.
So I was going through it a little bit faster and didn't really slow down and enjoy it. And I kind of want to go back and slow down and enjoy it some more.
I think that's smart. At some point, I'll probably do the same. And I think that's something too, like with Crescent City. I've read the first book 3 times, the second book twice, and the third book once. But again, racing through because I needed to know what happened. And so, yeah, I need to go back at some point. Probably not this year. That's maybe we need another year and then or next year, something. I don't know. Was it really? It was a year ago when that came out.
Yeah.
Crazy.
Because that was our January book last year.
Yeah. January or February, because I think it came, I think we did December, January, February for the 3, I think. I could be wrong. We have a note. We could check, but we're not.
We're not going to right now.
We
should probably get into our romance books. Our actual episode today is on romance books and rom-coms that we love. So we're going to kick it off. I feel like you have read so many romance books. So I'm curious, what are your top ones?
Yes. I took this challenge. I took this challenge very seriously. And I also took to heart that I did not want to. I mean, there's one that I've already mentioned before. I'm looking at my list right now. One that I definitely have mentioned before that I will mention again that I think is my favorite. And my favorite sports romance. And it's one that I recommend to like everyone. The Deal by Elle Kennedy. But the rest, I think I haven't mentioned them before. They're not that you won't have heard of most of them, but The Deal by Elle Kennedy, what I love about that, it's the first in her off-campus series. And then she has a spinoff series. And it's one of those where you don't have to read them in order. In all honesty, you might not like all of the stories. So I would say look at the different storylines. But this one is a storyline of where this like star hockey player at this college needs a tutor and he convinces this girl to help him. And now I'm forgetting what she needed in return from him.
So was this like the first book and then The Graham Effect was the second book?
No, that is a completely different series.
Oh, okay.
So, and funny enough, the main character in this, his last name is Graham, but it's not. I don't know if they're related. I should pay attention because I have read The Graham Effect. So I need to go figure that out.
They do. She does have a brother.
I don't know. Maybe.
And I think he played hockey. I'm going to have to go back and read. Maybe it is.
They're probably all in the same world. That would be awesome.
I love that.
I know.
I have to read all of them now.
So that first one, the main thing that I think appreciated about the book is he was with, like the girl was kind of more hesitant in a relationship and they weren't supposed to end up in a relationship that, she was very clear about that, how those books start, like we're not going to date, but she had some issues going on, especially with regards to physical relationships and how respectful he was and how he helped her process through things. And I really appreciated that. I thought it was very well done and I just love him. But what's funny is, so it goes through like all of his team and then the next, like there's 4. And then the next 4, it has his sister who shows up from time to time, I think in the other books, his younger sister, and then her romance. And then I haven't finished all of those. I've read the first 4 and then that one. But again, they're all standalone. And with me, they really are because I forget characters' names. So if I read out of order, I won't even notice that it's the same names because I'm reading Onyx Storm. Lena gave me like a complete rundown of what happened in Iron Flame. And I still do these names. I'm like, okay, who is this person again?
There's a huge joke, meme, whatever, going around Bookstagram and everything about that because there's so many characters. People are like, where did this character come from? And some people are saying, Rebecca Yarros must be a bad writer because you can't just throw characters out there and expect your reader to know who they are. You're not writing memorable enough characters. I don't think that that's the case. I think she's a good writer. I enjoy her books.
Yeah.
I do think there could have been a character guide with this. And maybe moving forward, she does that and say, like, here is, like, even at the back, because I've seen them and we talked about it last week about how the character guides were out there for going through it, for going into. But there were so many new characters throughout Onyx Storm that you needed one for before and after you started reading.
Right?
Yeah.
So, yeah. All right. So what is a book that you have on your list?
I asked about The Graham Effect because I have The Graham Effect by Elle Kennedy.
I figured you were going to have that on there.
And that was It's actually the only Elle Kennedy book I've read. I enjoyed it a lot. I really liked that it was a hockey player and a female hockey player, like a male hockey player and a female hockey player, and not a male hockey player and a female
Okay, maybe,
ice
did I
skater.
read that one? Is there one before that one, or is that the first one?
I thought it was the first one because I like to go in order.
Okay, then I read it. I read the first one in that series because I think only the first one was out. But anyway, keep going. Sorry.
But she's tough. He's tough. Her dad is like a famous hockey player, and she's trying to make the USA Olympic team. So it was really good, and it had a very strong female character, and I really enjoyed that because I sometimes feel like the romances that I was always told were romance stories always had a heroine who was, oh, poor me, I can't do anything. I need a strong man to do everything for me. And that's not me. And that's not what I want to read. That's not like my fantasy.
Yeah.
I don't want someone to take care of me. I want someone to be a partner with me. And I think that that's what that book did. So it had two strong characters from very different backgrounds. And I liked that. Apparently that's something that I like in a romance because several of the books that I did like had, kind of the city mouse, country mouse kind of thing going on. So it was nice. I enjoyed that book though.
I will say, from having read so many of hers, she does not write weak women. They're all, even the ones that are dealing with stuff, they are badasses in their own right, and they are strong, and maybe they need a little bit of support to remember who they are, but they are like, and a lot of ball busters. So I like that. Okay, I'm going to share another one. I'm like, which one do I want to do next? Okay, I guess I will go with The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood.
That's on my list too.
Which, I will be honest, I have not read any other of her full-length books, though I own 2 more. I read a couple of novellas and was not as big of a fan, but I loved The Love Hypothesis. I just thought, I really, even though I'm not sciencey at all, I identified with her awkwardness, and I'm like, that would so, like, maybe not grabbing and kissing him, like, I would not have done that, but a lot of the other things I would have done. And
I liked how he was kind of like not standoffish, but kind of reserved. But when it came to the romantic scenes, he was not reserved, and he took control. And
I know, I loved it. I loved it. I know that there is a line. I'm not going to, but there is a line from that book that I'm just like, and it's not even intended. Well, I mean, it's not necessarily like just the words are not like what you'd be like, oh, that's such, whatever.
Yeah.
But it's just like, oh, when you imagine him saying
the way
it to her,
he said it,
yes, that you're just like,
he stole my heart.
Yes, I love.
And
I've
read several of her other books. I even put it on here that I was not in love with Not in Love.
Is that one of them?
It's called Not in Love, and it was just, I feel like, the worst. And I think I read all of the novellas that came out, and they were so-so. They weren't my favorite.
They weren't great. That's why I'm scared to read the others.
She's had a couple others that were good, not great. But then she also wrote Bride.
Oh, yeah, and you didn't
that
like it,
was
did you?
Phenomenal.
Okay, you did like, who was it that didn't like? Was Allie? No, Allie told us about it.
I don't remember.
Oh my
maybe
gosh,
Emily?
Bride was, maybe Emily? No, but okay, maybe it was none of us. Maybe we all liked it.
And
that was crazy.
I think that I liked that book so much because it was, I mean, she's written all about scientists, and that's kind of like her niche genre. And then Bride kind of came out of left field with a vampire and a werewolf getting it on.
Yes.
And it's like, what is happening here? But it was very well done. It was kind of out of left field for her, in my opinion. I don't know if she's written that previously, but kind of the urban fantasy genre. It was really well done.
It was so well done. It was so entertaining. And it was funny. Like, it was
had good banter. Yeah.
Yes. It was like a romantic-y comedy. It was like a romantic-com. I don't know. A rom-com fantasy. It was it was so good. And I am still forever scarred by learning that term that I didn't know dogs did.
The nodding.
I didn't know what that was. I really thought that was made up for the book. And then when I told
I hadn't read it. I think I was the last one to read it. And I was asking you guys what it was, and no one wanted to answer me. But I didn't want to Google it.
No, you don't want to Google that. But no, I was like, what the heck? And I was telling my boyfriend about it, and he was like, how do you not know this? I'm like, I'm sorry. I have not seen dogs. The only dogs I've seen remotely doing it is when a dog is like on TV humping someone's leg or a plant or something. They're not actually with another
Doing the
animal. And if they
deed.
were, it's
Yeah.
not like I'm getting under there to look. So how am I supposed to know what nodding is? I'm sorry. Like, I did not know that that was a thing. And
I had no idea either.
I was very shocked reading this
So
book.
for all of our listeners who don't know what it is, I'm not going to tell you. You'll
I'm
have
not
to
going to
read
tell you
Bride.
either. Yeah.
And
yeah,
don't
you're going to have to read
Google it.
Bride. Nope. Don't Google it. Ask a friend, phone a friend, text a friend, see if they can help you out. But no, do not Google it. And if you do, don't click on images because I'm sure there's crazy ones.
Yes.
I'm too
But
scared.
if you read the book, it'll explain it to you.
It does
It's a good
explain
book.
it.
It's a good
It
book.
is a
and
good book.
It doesn't do it in like a dirty way. I think
It's just meant to be
because
more
it's
realistic.
it's a vampire going into a werewolf's world. So
Yeah.
it really is her learning about his world and his life. And through that, we learn about it. And that's one of the things that we learn about.
Yeah.
So that brought a whole
because he's kind of because
craziness.
he's a dog because he's the werewolf.
Yeah, he's a werewolf.
Anyway,
It brought up
moving
some really
on.
gross, fun conversations at book club, though.
It really did. It really did. And I'm still just, there are just certain things that I think of that I'm just like, I still can't get over. Just like, I don't know, my naivete or whatever. And that is definitely,
That is one of them.
that is one of them. So yeah, it's fine.
All right. So I guess going on to one of my next ones, The Dead Romantics by Ashley Poston?
I haven't read it.
She's written a couple of books, and I think I recommended 7 Year Slip to Emily. So she's written The Dead Romantic, 7 Year Slip, and then she wrote a novel love story. And The Dead Romantics, I thought was really awesome because there's this girl, Florence. She's the female main character. She gets a new boss, and then she doesn't mesh well with him. They just don't end up going well together. And she gets a message that her father has died. So she goes back to her small town to help bury her dad, who I believe, if I remember correctly, was the funeral director. So she goes into the house and you learn that she can see ghosts. And so she's waiting to see the ghost of her dad.
Okay.
But instead, when she gets there, she opens up the door and she meets the ghost of her boss, who has been hit by a bus, I believe. So it's
like the spirit of Christmas, kind of.
Well, it's their love story. So when I first started reading it, all I could think of was, okay, this is a romance. Is this going to be, was it Kesha who had sex with the ghost that she
I don't know.
talked about in an interview? I don't know. Someone cooler than me would probably know.
I don't know, but the second of The Witching Hour in Rice, I'm pretty sure there was a scene. Didn't she get impregnated by a ghost or something?
I don't know. I haven't read that one.
It was crazy.
So it doesn't go in that direction, I will say. So it's really good.
Sweeter.
They fall in love. Yes, much sweeter. But it was really good. And then a novel love story that she wrote, that one was really fun. They're all romance, but with a kind of a supernatural twist to them. That one, she's trying to meet up with her friend, or she was supposed to meet up with her friend to do like a getaway weekend.
Okay.
Instead, her car breaks down and she ends up in this small little town. It turns out to be the town from her favorite book series. So it's a romance book series and she's in the series.
Oh, that's fun.
So she steps into the novel. So, and then finds her place in the world. So it's really fun. And then 7 Year Slip is she goes to her aunt's apartment, I think it is. And her aunt has died. She's bequeathed this apartment for her to live in. So she goes to it and then finds out there's someone else already living there, but he's 7 years in the past. And so he comes and goes, but it's 7 years. So they can't be together because they're 7 years apart. So
like The Lake House. Did you ever see that movie?
I did. It was good.
Yeah. Interesting.
But yeah, I really like her books. I think that I like the supernatural elements with the romance. Like it's kind of just a fun genre.
Yeah, that does sound kind of fun. I might have to read one of those eventually. Okay, I am maybe gonna say, well, I guess, like, okay, there's another one that I have that's kind of mainstream that I know a lot of people have read. Book Lovers by Emily
It's on
Henry.
my list.
That one is my favorite of hers by far, and I am
Hmm.
hoping that it's made. I think it would make the cutest rom-com. I hope they make it into a movie because the way it's
It's been
written.
picked up. Yeah.
Okay, good. Because the way it's written, the whole time I was reading this, I was like, you know, sometimes you read a book where you're like, this would be hard for them to adapt, or I would get mad. This one, I'm like, she wrote it in such a way that if they screw up an adaptation of this, it means they suck at screenwriting,
Yeah.
at filming, all the things, because she wrote it in such a way that it will just translate so beautifully, I think,
It
on the
will.
screen.
And there
And
was
so
such a good relationship between the sisters
mm-hmm.
and the sister and her husband. Like, I really liked everything about it.
Yes, me
And
too. I
Enemies to
agree.
Lovers, I thought was really well done.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, I agree.
good
All
point.
right, you got another one? I mean, I stole one of yours.
I'll use this as my last one because I know
Okay.
we talked for a while beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentioned her before. She's one of my favorites, Abby Jimenez.
Yep.
Part of My World, I think that is my favorite series by her.
Mm-hmm.
It starts out with Alexis, who is a doctor, and her whole family is doctors, and they kind of like run this hospital. But she's coming back from some event, and she gets a flat tire, and a man in a truck stops and helps her fix her tire. And the man is Daniel. They end up meeting, and this is really where it's country mouse, city mouse, because he is very much so just not a go out into the world person. He's very comfortable in his very small town, and she is definitely a prominent surgeon or emergency room doctor. I can't remember now, but she's a doctor.
I don't remember. Yeah.
Anyway, it's very good. They're from different worlds, but they want to be part of each other's world. And I loved everything about it. The banter, the other characters, the side characters.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's a pig.
I don't remember. I need to
It's either a
reread it.
pig or a goat that his friend has that kind of comes and goes. Anyway, it's funny. It was really good. She has just a way with words, and that is part of that is one of 3, I think, books now in that
I
series.
think so, yeah.
All really good.
Yeah, I need to read all of those. I need to reread that one first. Okay, I have a few more, and I'm just going to kind of list them, give little brief descriptions.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, one of them is called The Words by Ashley Jade, and it was circulating, I think, 2 years ago on Bookstagram, maybe even on TikTok, and that one is a rock star romance. And it's the only rock star romance that I've read, and it's one that when I first read it, I was like, I liked it. It's really long, by the way. Really long, but there is a lot of plot, too. It's not just the romance. And it's one that I just kept thinking about. I think I read it on Kindle Unlimited and I just kept thinking about it. And so I ended up buying myself a copy of the book because it's one that kind of stayed with me. Then Enjoy the View by Sarah Morgan Thaler, which you may not recognize that name, but you might have heard of The Tourist Attraction, which was really popular a couple of years ago among, maybe not you, Lena, but in the romance world, it was very popular a few years ago. And it's about they take place in, I think, Alaska, and The Tourist Attraction. And they're all good, but I personally prefer the third one. It's one of those where they can be standalone, but the characters show up. I like the third one the best, which doesn't even make sense because they're like climbing a mountain and stuff. And that doesn't sound like something I would be into. It's not my thing, but I really liked it. And then Hopeless by Colleen Hoover. I'll be on all of Colleen Hoover's books for the most part are romances. Hopeless is more YA. I would not say it's completely YA because I can think of one scene that would maybe make it like new adult. But it covers heavy, but it's so, I'm like, I want to go back and reread it. I mean, you will cry. All of her books make me cry except for Verity. But it's so good. You will love the main character, the guy. He is just awesome. And like, there's just so many, I can't say anything because I don't want to give anything away. But
her books usually have like a good twist or something you don't see like coming, and you can't give it away.
This is one, like, it's kind of, there's like 5 books that are interconnected, and this is the one that goes first chronologically, but I don't know how to explain it, but there are multiple But it's such a good book. It might be her best. I know I have a few that I love. That's probably in my top 3 of her books. It's one that I think about a lot. Then this is one that probably no one has ever heard of, called Dear Mr. Knightley. And I didn't even put the author, which is unfortunate, but it is a novel that's partially letters going back and forth and then partially like, no, actually, I think the whole thing is actually, now that I think about it, I think it is an epistolary novel. And it kind of, if anyone has read the really old book from the early 1900s or seen, like, apparently there's an old movie of it, Daddy Longlegs, which is about this orphan. I know you're like, what the heck? My mom has this book somewhere in her house. It was her mom's book, like when she was a kid. And I read it once when I was bored and just saw it on my mom's shelf, like in college. And I was like, this is such a good book. And it's where basically this like orphan who had graduated out of their orphanage. In this version, it's like a foster home though, but in the old version, you know, and they have this wealthy benefactor of the organization agrees to pay for their continued schooling. So in the Dear Mr. Knightley, it's college, as long as the person, like the girl, keeps writing letters. And he decides she wants to write letters, but she doesn't know the name of the person. And because she loves Emma, she decides, she's like, I'm just going to call you Mr. Knightley because I have to direct it to someone. And so it's really cute and it's very innocent. It is closed door. There's nothing. It's just a very sweet, innocent. I mean, if you read it, it's kind of immature writing. I have read it at least 3 times and it's just adorable. So I highly recommend it. It's probably one that no one's ever heard of. She has a few books and I feel like I've read other ones and they're cute too, where they're have some sort of spin on a classic.
I really like that idea. I think that's fun.
Yeah. So should we talk about movies?
Let's do it.
Okay. Give me one.
Like where to start?
I know.
Probably
I have a list of like 30.
I kept it small because I was like, we're going to run out of time. I know it. We're already at, close to an hour.
Typical. It's fine.
We'll get there. But one of my favorite movies ever, 10 Things I Hate About You.
So good.
And if you haven't seen it, Julia Stiles, I think we've even quoted it on here before.
I think we have too.
So, Julia Stiles and is it Heath Ledger? Is that his name? But it also had Joseph Gordon-Levitt
and Larissa Oleynik from The Secret World of Alex Mack. Anyone?
I did not know that.
Yeah. Yes.
So it's just.
And Andrew Keegan.
Mm-hmm. Can't forget him.
Nope.
It's very funny. It is early 2000s, late 90s teen
it's
drama.
Our generation.
Yes. And it's punk rock cat. I love it.
I know.
I had always had like a huge crush on Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I was like, he's just so cute. So I think that was part of the reason why I wanted to see this movie to begin with. And his character was really funny. But
he's such a good actor.
I fell in love with Julia Stiles in this movie. And
Me
I was
too.
like, she is just amazing. I love her. And what is it? Taming of the Shrew is what it's a retelling of it.
Yes.
And she wanted to go out for this movie because she really likes Shakespeare.
That's so cool. I didn't know that.
I was like, I didn't know that. So I had read something about that recently because I just showed this movie to my daughter. Gosh, this summer, I think we watched it. And it was fun.
Well, and this is one I feel like has stood the test of time. It's like, because there were so many, just like in the 80s, there were so many teen movies in the late 90s, early 2000s. And obviously, like, we're more inclined to remember a lot of them, but there's always going to be standouts. And it's kind of like the 80s ones. I feel like The Breakfast Club, 16 Candles, Pretty in Pink. Like, those are the ones that most people can name.
Yeah.
And so for us, I don't even know what
10 Things I Hate About You.
I guess Mean Girls would fit in there, but it's not a rom-com. But, but yes, 10 Things I Hate About
American Pie.
Oh, American Pie, 100%.
I think that is like our generation's teen movie.
American Pie and 10 Things I Hate About You. I think those are our claim to fames. And I think all of these could go on our list as well. In fact, some of them are on my list. But, but I agree, like, 10 Things I Hate About You is not my favorite of our time period. I'm going to say what mine is because it's on my list. But I can say that I think it's the best one of our generation, I would say. But the one that I like the best is Drive Me Crazy with Melissa Joan Hart and Adrian Grenier.
Yeah.
And
I don't think I've seen that one.
Oh, so good. I say that and now you probably think it was stupid. But anyway, it's basically there's a fake dating thing because the popular girl, Melissa Joan Hart, wants the basketball star to take her to this dance that they're having at her school for the centennial. And but then he like falls on a cheerleader for the other team and so starts dating her. So then her next door neighbor who's kind of, emo, like she's Miss Popular and he's emo and they used to be best friends and now they're not. And his girlfriend breaks up with him. So then she's like, okay, we should totally fake date to make make everyone jealous and all this. And so it's really fun. It's a lot of fun. And there's some good music in that one too. So, but I know a lot of people haven't even heard of it. And the music video.
I think I've heard of it. I just wasn't.
Yeah.
I was very elitist, I think.
And I was very follower person. I don't know, whatever.
So
peppy. I was peppy.
People change. Now I would probably love it.
But so if you've ever seen the Britney Spears You Drive Me Crazy music video, that is why Melissa Joan Hart and Adrian Grenier are in it, because
I've never seen that.
They named the movie after that song. And so anyway, it's a cute music. That's my favorite Britney Spears song. Yeah. That's my favorite Britney Spears song of all time, the Stop remix, not the original version. And so it makes sense that I would put these together. Anyway, okay, your turn. Go, another one.
Notting Hill. Ugh. So this was pretty much the height of Hugh Grant fame. And it was him and Julia Roberts and this kind of, I would say like a missed romance kind of thing going on. But really for me, the part that I loved the best was not Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts. It was Hugh Grant's roommate and his sister. Because they are the biggest just weirdos. And they find each other and they just mesh and it's amazing. And so that was what made it for me. That's the romance that I came for. I mean, the romance I stayed for probably, because I probably came for Hugh Grant and Julia Roberts thinking that was going to be some big romance. And it was good. But the roommate and the sister and then his best friend who had been, she was paralyzed, right?
Yeah, she had fallen down the stairs, I think.
And her husband and their romance and just seeing the enduring romance of that, living through the tragedy. I think they get
and then just
pregnant,
all
right?
their friendships, like all of them together. It's
just amazing. And it's more about, so you have this romantic love going on, but also the friendship love, and then accepting this famous movie star, Julia Roberts, into their funky little eclectic mix.
And her wanting to be, and her wanting to and appreciating them and loving them too, despite their quirks.
Yes. And I think
that she should. I'm not saying
amazing.
That. I'm like saying as she should, but some people have big heads in Hollywood, I would imagine. So
it's a good movie. It's still one that I can watch now, and I still laugh at the scene whenever they go to the movie and he's wearing the prescription goggles, the snorkeling goggles, because he can't find his eyeglasses. And I laugh every single time.
I remember, so when I went to go see it, I remember going to see it, and it was before you had tickets with assigned seats in the movie theater. I had to sit front row to that movie, and it was still amazing. But I remember the part that got me, like when he's climbing up and trying to go over the gate, and he says, "Whoops-a-daisy." Yep. And then she's making fun of it. Then he goes up, and then then he does it again. She's like, "Oh my god!" Oh my gosh, there's so many good lines in that. It's so good. All right, let me see. I'm looking at my list. Okay, I have two that are my favorite movies that I watch. It's not on there. I didn't even put it on there because I guess it's not a rom-com, but that's okay. Two that kind of are rom-com-y. He's Just Not That Into You. Okay. I love this movie. And it was funny when last week, I was kind of looking ahead at this episode, and I was sitting there during lunch and some of my students were there, and I was like, okay, rom-coms that you like, that like someone my age would have seen. And one of the girls said, He's Just Not That Into You. And I was like, oh my gosh, it is my favorite.
Because It is a late 90s movie, right? Or is it early 2000s?
No, this one, okay. So,
I remember my sister really liked it.
okay, it came out in either 2008 or 2009, and the reason I
Oh,
know this
later.
is my mom gave it to me in the hospital when I had Kaylee in 2009, the DVD, so that I could watch it in the hospital. Like, I'd already seen it in the theater, and she knew I liked it, and it had just come out on DVD. So she brought it because there was a DVD player in there, and I watched it in the hospital, and I was so excited. But yeah, it has a huge
Side note,
cast.
do you know what I watched when I was giving birth to Piper? Not when I was giving birth, but when I
But like when
got
you're in the
induced
hospital,
in the
what?
hospital, I watched True Love, which
Which
the
is
first it's the
is that
vampires.
or True Blood?
True Blood, not True Love.
You were watching True Blood in the
I watched
hospital?
it was the first episode, and so there's just all the sex. And every
Oh
time
my
I was like, I can't do this. I kept having to like close my laptop.
Oh my
It's so
gosh.
embarrassing.
Okay, you know what's funny? When I was pushing Gavin out, do you know it was on the TV? We couldn't hear it because they had disconnected the thing. America's Next Top Model was on, and it was a new episode, and I did watch that show. It was like being
I'm missing
DVR'd at
it.
home. Like, it's so funny. But no, this one
That's right.
has a huge cast. It
Mhm.
has Jennifer Aniston. It has, oh my gosh, Jennifer Goodwin. What's the one? I think it's another Jennifer from The Labyrinth. Ben
I'm
Affleck,
I'm
Scarlett
thinking of a different
Johansson,
movie then.
Drew
Okay.
Barrymore. Who else is in there? Kevin Connolly. He was really big then because he was on Entourage then.
Mm-hmm.
Who else is in it? Bradley Cooper. Oh my gosh. There's so
I
many.
don't know
And
if I remember this.
oh my gosh, Justin Long. He's a huge part of this, so I can't believe I forgot to say his name. Busy Phillips is in it because, funny story, her ex-husband was like a writer-producer on the movie. So the thing about this one, if you've never heard of it or never seen it, yes, you might be like, isn't that a book? Yes, there is a self-help book called He's Just Not That Into You. And that was the inspiration for this. And the whole storyline is there's this girl who is dying to be in a relationship and to fall in love. And she is doing all these things that perhaps we've all done at some time that are kind of desperate. And she meets this guy, and he hasn't called her. So she had mentioned the name of a bar on their date. So she does a drive-by to see if he's there and starts talking to who she thinks is the bartender, but he actually is like the manager, general manager of the bar, and mentions the guy. And he's like, oh, he's not here. Is he expecting you? I'll call him. And she's like, no, because it's his friend. And so then they have a conversation, and this what sets up kind of the whole storyline for her, and she's the main character, is that he's basically teaching her to recognize that, okay, this guy's into you, this guy's not. Like, here are the red flags, because he's been a walking red flag too. But then there's all these side characters that they're all interconnected in some way. And so you're following their different storylines. And the overwhelming message is most people are the rule, not the exception. And so people will tell stories, for example, when someone wants to have an affair and they're like, well, I know someone who they were married to someone else. And they met this guy and he was married to someone else. And then they fell in love, but they knew they were soulmates. So they left that and now they're happy and they've been together 20 years. Okay, that's an exception. That is not the rule. And it's a really good, I think, message for everyone as women and like teenagers, because I'm around teenagers all the time. And I will say they are kind of more with it than I was. They're not guessing if a guy's into them or a girl's into them. They're like, well, if they're not giving me attention, they're not. And I'm like, yes, facts. If someone likes you and wants to be with you, they will, in fact, be. So anyway, but I'm obsessed with it and I want to go watch it right now.
I was thinking, I can't remember the name of it, but it had Freddie Prinze Jr.
Okay.
And
who else? Give me.
That's just the one I remember.
What happens? What's the plot? Because I might know it.
I remember they're on top of a building. I don't know if this helps you at all. Freddie Prinze Jr. on top of a building. And that was the one my sister liked.
I have no idea what this movie is.
Can't hardly wait. I can't remember now.
I know what you did last summer.
No.
Like, I mean, I'm trying to think. Head over heels?
This was definitely like a, I don't know. I'll have to
Okay,
Google. I'll have to do some gratuitous Googling
you are
and
gonna have
find
to
it.
do, yeah, because I have no idea. I need more details, and I could
Mhm.
probably figure it out if I had more details. But yeah, all right. What's another one of
Okay.
yours?
So another one of mine kind of sounds kind of similar to your red flag person is Crazy Stupid Love.
Oh, so good.
And if you haven't seen this, it's Steve Carell, and that's why I had wanted to watch it because I think this
Mhm.
was like in the middle of The Office and everything.
Yes, yes, it was.
And him and his wife, who's Julianne Moore, they are getting divorced.
She just tells him that. I think she tells him she had an affair, that she had slept with
Okay.
someone and she wanted a divorce. Yeah.
So he ends up at this bar, and I can't remember the circumstances that they meet, but Steve Carell and Ryan Gosling start hanging out. And Ryan Gosling is this womanizer who will never settle down and is a walking red flag.
Yes.
I
Don't give
think
anything. Don't give the twist away.
okay, I won't.
Yeah, you can't give that twist away.
The twist is the best part.
I
But
know that is like. But do
I
you ever
laughed
say,
so hard in this movie.
"Oh my
Just
gosh, the two of them together
Mhm.
are amazing"? And I'm talking Steve Carell and what's his name? I just
Ryan
forgot his name.
Gosling.
Ryan Gosling. Like they make the movie their
Mhm.
relationship. Like forget
Yes.
everything else. But don't get me wrong, they're really good. You need to find out the twist.
So it's very good. It's worth watching. I
Mhm.
laughed very hard
Oh
at
my
it.
gosh, Marissa Tomei is amazing in it.
I don't remember her being in
The
it. Now I need to go
teacher,
watch it. Okay.
the teacher.
Emma Stone is
Uh,
in it.
Emma Stone is in it.
I
Let's
think if
see
there's
who
anyone
else.
else.
There. Okay, so this girl, y'all would not know her. Annalie is the babysitter, and she was the winner on America's
Yeah.
Top Model one year. So yeah,
Because you know you're American and America's Next Top Model.
Next Top Model. Yeah, I sure did. I watched many seasons of it. Oh my
That's
gosh,
funny.
it's such a good movie. Now I want to go watch that too. But do you ever like? I'll sometimes be frustrated, and I'll just say, David, what is it? David Hagen. I'll just like say that like David Lindhagen because Kevin Bacon. That's David Lindhagen.
Okay.
That's another important one. But yeah, I'll just say that. And I finally got Emily to watch that because I was like, sometimes I just want to say to you, David Lindhagen,
Lines
and
from
you will
the
not.
movie.
And you no, I just want to say that line, like David Lindhagen, and it will mean nothing to you. And for most people, even that have seen it, they might be like, why are you saying that? But I feel like
That's what I'm like. I haven't seen it in, gosh, probably came out 15 years ago.
I bet at least. Yeah, I kind of want to know.
I would
But yes,
venture to say 10 to 15 years ago.
Yes.
But it's a good movie. And I don't know if I've seen it since then. Like, I need to go watch it again because I did enjoy it a lot.
It's so good. Okay, I know we've been talking forever, but I just want to list a bunch because, like, those are really. There's one more that I just adore, which is What to Expect When You're Expecting, and it's another one of those ensemble casts. And again, it's after a self-help book, and that one has an amazing cast. We've got J-Lo, we've got
Isn't Cameron Diaz in it?
Cameron Diaz, Matthew Morrison. Oh my gosh, what's his name? Oh my gosh, I can picture him. He's the dad in the remake of The Parent Trap. Dennis Quaid. No, that's wrong. Is it Dennis Quaid? No.
It's Dennis Quaid, isn't it?
Okay, maybe it is Dennis
Not Randy Quaid.
Not Randy Quaid. Dennis Quaid. Is that the right name? I don't know. It's like escaping me. I think Brooklyn Decker, maybe. That might not be who that is, but it's a pretty girl. There's someone from SNL that you would know. What's her name? Fat Amy from Pitch Perfect. Oh my gosh. There's
I pulled it up on IMDb.
Okay, thank you. Because I'm like forgetting everyone's names right now. And I watched this movie multiple times.
Elizabeth Banks.
That's who I was thinking of.
Chase Crawford.
Oh, I forgot he's in it. Anna Kendrick,
Matthew Morrison, Dennis Quaid. So it was him.
Yes,
Chris
so we were
Rock.
right. Okay. Oh yeah, Chris Rock is in it. Oh,
Joe Manganiello.
My favorite. He's still on my list. My 5.
Joe is
he's in my
or
5. Joe is
okay
in my 5.
Let's see who else. Rebel Wilson. That's who you're thinking of.
That's who I was thinking of.
Megan Mullally is in it.
Oh yeah, she is. Oh my gosh, she's so funny in it. She has a small part, but she's so funny.
Yeah,
but yeah, it's so good. And it's about people either. They're all about people that are pregnant or thinking about having kids, and it's good.
Yeah,
it's really good. There's some heavy moments, but for the most part, it's a comedy. So, have you seen it?
I think I saw it a long time ago. I was so on it. I don't know
Yeah,
if I was.
it's okay.
That's okay.
It's those two. I watch those all the time, along with First Wives Club, which is not on here, but First Wives Club, love that movie.
I remember that one, and that one was really funny.
Oh my gosh, the ending of that movie. I think all movies should end like that. And if you don't know, you need to go watch it
Yeah.
and watch the ending. All right, so my list. I'm just gonna list a bunch. Okay,
Okay. Let's hear
I've
it.
already mentioned 16 Candles. Can't
Which is
Buy Me
good.
Love with
Love that one.
with Patrick Dempsey. Drive Me Crazy, I already mentioned. To All the Boys I Loved Before, the first one, I felt like a really creepy old woman thinking the main guy was so cute in that movie, knowing that he was like 20 years younger than me. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. Notting Hill was on mine. Four Weddings and a Funeral. That was
Oh,
during
yes. That's very good.
Hugh Grant's big popularity time. 27 Dresses. 13 Going on 30. Okay, it's not a rom-com, but Cruel Intentions.
Okay.
Also not a rom-com, Romeo and Juliet with Leonardo DiCaprio. Get Over It if you have not seen Get Over It. It's a very campy. I don't even know how to describe it. Just look it up. It's late 90s, early 2000s. Kirsten Dunst, Martin Short, Shane West. It's great. And then Whatever It Takes, which also has Shane West in it, and Marla
I
Sokolov
don't remember
and
who Shane West is.
Aaron Paul. He was in A Walk to Remember. That's what everyone
Okay.
knows him from.
That is a good movie.
Eh. So
Oh,
I am
I loved
anti
it.
that. Okay, because I loved the book so much, and they did not do it the same as the book because they moved it to modern times. It pissed me off. So
Yeah.
anyway, it's fine.
So
That's
my
fine.
other ones that I would want to mention are The Wedding Singer.
Oh, so good.
The song All I Want to Do Is Grow Old With You.
Yes.
I loved that
I
song.
love that. It's so good.
It was me and my high school boyfriend. It was our song back
Oh,
in the
that's
day.
so cute. I love that.
And the other one that I wanted to mention was My Best Friend's Wedding with
Oh,
Julia Roberts and
that's a classic.
Dylan Dermot Mulroney.
Dermot Mulroney
and
and
Cameron
then
Diaz. And Julia
yes.
Roberts and Dermot
And what's his
Mulroney
name?
are
What's
best
the
friends.
other guy? What's the other guy? I can't think of his name.
I can't think of his name either, but it's her.
But he's amazing. Yeah.
Her gay best friend. Her gay best friend. Yeah.
Yeah.
So Julia Roberts and Dermot Mulroney have said that they'll get married when they turn 30 or something like that, and she thinks that he's calling to tell her that, but instead he's calling to say he's getting married to Cameron Diaz, who's a socialite from Dallas, who can't drive. Like, she drives
like a
crazy.
maniac.
She drives like a Texan.
This is true.
Very true.
In Chicago.
But it's very funny. There was a scene where they're at like a rehearsal dinner or something, and they start singing.
Oh, the luncheon. They're at a luncheon.
Yes. And
yes,
we used to always
say a little prayer for you.
Joke about it, because in one scene there's a guy with like lobster hands.
Oh,
he's going in the background, and that scene, we used to joke about that all the time when I was growing up. So that movie is just like etched into my heart because of so many fun memories.
So you want to know what's funny? I remember, I don't know if it came out around Christmas time. It was either Christmas time or middle of the summer. And the reason I say this, that it was like twice a year that we would all be together, like family, like adults and cousins. And all I know is that all the adults got to go to, or the adult women got to go to my best friend's wedding. My cousin and I are like 15, 14, somewhere like that. We also want to go to my best friend's wedding. But because we're the oldest of the cousins, we had to take the younger ones
had to babysit
to Batman and Robin, which Batman Forever, amazing movie, amazing soundtrack. Batman and Robin, it's only
not
okay.
so much.
So
it did have what's his name, and he was really hot.
Well, I mean, he was in the other one too, wasn't he? Oh no, he was.
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
He
Chris
was in it
O'Donnell
for
was
a
in
little
both.
bit. Yeah.
Yeah. But anyway, so yeah, we didn't get to go see it, so I had to wait to see it. But I remember being like, they all come out like, "Oh my gosh, it was so good," and we're like, Morgan and I are like, "We hate you. Like, this is not fair." We're like, "They'll be fine," and they're like, "No, they will not be fine." Oh, we had to go with them. Anyway, all right. So,
but yeah, those are some really good romance books and rom-com movies.
Yes.
And if you want to join us reading Tessa Bailey's Dream Girl drama, we will be doing that at the end of February. Remember, February is a short month.
Yes.
So start reading.
But it's a short book. It's a short book for a short month. And so
most
cute.
romances are, and that's kind of like a nice thing about romance books is that they're short, sweet, to the point. They have a lot
and
of
the
fun.
ones that aren't, I want to stab them, like Icebreaker and How My Neighbor Stole Christmas.
Yes. Sometimes books just shouldn't be long. Unintentional, like they're just
300.
not unintentionally, but they're drawn out for no reason.
300 pages. A rom-com should be 300 pages or less.
Yep.
I will die on that hill.
All right. So we'll see you next month.
Next month. Next Monday.
I'm just getting ahead of myself.
You really are. You're like just jumping to. I mean, next month is your birthday month, so that is my birthday month,
and we get to do some episodes about things that I want to do. So I'm very excited about that.
Because so far we've only done things that I wanted to do because I am a tyrant. But no, we for real. Our birthday months were like free reign. Like birthday months, like whatever we want to do, we get to do. So Lena gets to do that for March, and just wait, you guys, for August.
It's going to be amazing.
And maybe next year we'll do half birthdays too, because February is my half birthday. When is your half birthday then? Is that September? So yeah, we might have to do that next year, is also do our half birthdays to,
because why not?
Tyrant, you know. It's all good. All right. Well, I guess
we
that's
can celebrate
all.
a full month and a full 6 months.
I'm here for it. So, all right. Well,
we'll see you next Monday.
Yes,
for
not
More Than a
next
Book
month.
Club podcast Monday. Not next month. Next Monday.
Not next month. Next Monday. All right. Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.